Hey, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. So I'm just setting up to do another quick backtesting video. I got some good feedback off of my last video, so a couple guys said it was very useful to them, so I figured, why not? Let me just go ahead and do another one, right? Some feedback I got as well from the last video was that for people who don't really understand my strategy, it might be a little bit difficult to follow what I'm doing. I'll try my best to explain as I go along, but at the end of the day, I'm just trying to backtest my particular strategy and just practice for myself. And I'm just recording myself doing it, right? And hopefully, I guess the more you watch it, the more you'll probably pick up and see what it is I'm doing, right? So I'll try to explain as best as I possibly can and see how we get on. So for me, straight away, I just look for the immediate trend. So obviously we're in this bullish trend. How I identify it, I'll just look left, look for the lowest point. I guess you could kind of say here's the lowest point, and then I'll just connect another low, right, and just extend the line. So is that valid? Probably not, but probably not. We had one touch, sorry, so this is 1, 2, 3 touches, and it's kind of far away from price, right? So I'd probably be able to find a better trend line to kind of gauge. So you could check this low here to this low here and just extend it into the future. It was well respected, but it's been broken and tested as resistance a few times. So for me, not really valid. So we could get rid of that. So then the next one that is quite obvious for me is here. So we'll connect this low, this low, this low, and this low. And this seems a lot more valid for me right now, right? Based on current price action. So I'll be basing my trading decisions off of this trend line, if it is respected or not, right? Then what I'll be looking for is bullish moves. So what that would look like for me would be a break of these highs here, come back, retest, and then look for long positions, right? We could identify a zone below here, but it's tested once. So this was resistance, tested again, a third time, broke through, completely disrespected. I think we took a trade. No, we didn't take a trade here. We might have taken a trade around here. So it already kind of served its purpose. Any kind of respect of this zone in the future would be more range based, right? So I wouldn't look for trades within here like that. That isn't the price action I want to see. I like to see trend moves. So that would be a clear breakthrough of the highs, come back, test, and then look, right? Look for long positions. Anyway, so onto the back testing. So from here, I'll just delete this zone. I'll drop to the 4-hour time frame and try to start making some trading decisions, right? Just neaten stuff up a little bit. Kind of encapsulate that absolute high. Yes, there's a zone here, but I always try to read what the market is telling me. And at this point, what the market is telling me, we had this strong buy, the strong bullish move, right, off of the trend line. It made a high, and then it immediately sold off, right? And yes, it didn't quite come back to this area, but the length of time it took to get here, which would probably be about 3 weeks, in less than a week, 2 days or so, it sold off, right? Had a chance to buy back up to this area, but it didn't. It's formed this sort of consolidation area, which is just kind of argument to me, right? Sellers arguing with buyers. That was just a mess. Sold off, and then it's trying to push up higher, right? So we'll just see what price does from here. If we get a crack above, all right, so we get the crack above here. So if price comes back and tests, let's see what happens actually. All right, cool. I was waiting to see if price pushed any higher, right? Because I'd like to see, this was a clear break, but the retracement to the zone isn't going to be deep enough for me. I would like to see a retracement kind of a little bit deeper, right? And what I term as deeper would be a Fibonacci retracement of at least 50%, right? I like 50% 618 pullbacks. So this would be around the 50% level, right? And then this is the 618 level. However, there isn't any clear zones for me here. I mean, this is probably would have been a zone in the past, but there's no current zones, right? It's just a mess over here. So even if price came back to this level, I wouldn't base any trading decisions at that level, right? So let's just see what it does with my level here. So it kind of dipped in, rejected it. It came deeper into it. Maybe some signs of rejection on the lower time frame. Okay, so it's respecting it. So it might very well just buy from here. But again, I just need it to come. Okay, all right. Well, that kind of just invalidated that zone entirely, right? So we had a massive sell. That's showing just the strong selling pressure in the market at the moment. So all zones here are just completely disrespected, and I wouldn't make any trading decisions off of them just because of that momentum move. So let's just see what price has to do. All right, so okay, so basically we had this massive sell-off, and then price did try to recover, right? It did try to push higher, but that's showing weakness in the market from the bulls, right? So not many buyers in the market to take price up. It did respect my trend line, but we didn't see a massive propulsion off the trend line, right? So for me to get involved in any further long positions, I would have to see a nice clear crack of these highs, right? Come back, test it, and then look for long positions. But that's gonna have to be one heck of a move, right? So we'll see what happens. All right, so price is currently respecting the trend line, but you could also see here this was a low. This low is lower than this low, and this low is even lower than this low, right? It'll probably be clearer to see on the 1 hour time frame. All right, so we had this low here, we had this kind of spike below, but you know, it reached lower than this low over here, right? And then this low is even lower than this low here, but it's still respecting the trend line. So if we see a clear breakthrough lower, then we'll look for short positions. All long positions will have to be based off of a crack of these highs, right? So all right, so that was a very a very clear momentum move. Plus we could also see this sort of price action forming, right? We could see impulse, right? Correction, impulse, right? And then another correction, and then impulse, right? And what I'm looking at here is this price action, right? So impulse, correction, impulse, correction, another impulse, right? So because of the way that price cracked the trend line and cracked this lower area here, probably this is a little bit more valid because it's most recent. So here, this is what I'm looking at. If price comes back up to kind of the trend line or this area here, show some rejection, then I'll look for a short position. All right, so let's see. And price might just want to sell, showing rejections. You see, and you could see, here we go. All right, that's nice. Okay. All right, so you could see here, right? So price, every time price is getting an opportunity to sell, it's selling hard and recovering slowly. Selling hard, recovering slowly. Selling hard, very slow recovery. Even though this was a strong bullish candle, on the very next opportunity of trying to push the price higher, we saw a rejection of the trend line, a rejection of the zone together with a bearish candle. That is pretty good to me. I like price action like that, because if price was to continue higher, you would just see a push, right? But we see any weak buying pressure into the level. Even though we had that strong bullish candle, it rejected straight away. So that for me is a nice short opportunity here. I'll put my stops just above the level, keep it tight. Target these previous lows, something like that, 3.9. Let's see what happens, right? So, all right, so we had a nice push lower. Let's see if we could hit targets. Didn't quite hit. No, it didn't quite hit. All right, strong push back up. So if And if we see another bullish candle, then the trade might be invalidated, right? So the next candle will be important to me. All right, sweet. So straight away bearish candle, right? Buyers had the opportunity to push price higher, but sellers came in, pushed it right back down. So sweet. Straight away we got targets got hit, right? So initial target of sorry, my dog just came to puppy is harassing me. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, so initial targets of 3.9 were hit. So just go over to the spreadsheet. 3.9, not 39. 39 would be nice, but 3.9. And then, all right, so for stops will now go on break even. I'll just look in the past to see what was the next previous low. Next previous low, kind of these lows here. So we're currently at this low here. So next target would be these lows here. I'll call that my final targets. Just about there. There looks all right to me. Wouldn't go for like the absolute bottom. Just right above the absolute bottom is gonna be cool. All right, so stops on break even. It comes and take me out, and we're done. Trade will be closed off. Sweet. Targets hit. Full TP of 7.24. Nice. That was a nice trade. 7.24. Sweet. So yeah, that was pretty good. I like those type of setups. Just reading the price action, right? It's always good for me to kind of read what the candles are doing. And if there's buying pressure, we will see buying pressure, right? But it's quite clear to see, at least for me, that we had the impulse, we had this correction, right? Had another impulse, another correction, had another impulse, right? And another correction, right? So that's just the way of the market, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. And that's what I like to see, right? So anyway, we'll look for more trading opportunities here. So the next thing we want to look for is a pullback. All right, so price pull back. So I'll just identify these lows. If we see a crack of these lows, then we'll look for further short positions, right? So let's see. All right, so again, right? So this is what I'm talking about. So price, if bulls were in the market, you would see these highs. You would see these highs being broken, right? Bulls were here. We had bulls in the market, but it didn't. They tapered off very quickly, right? They came in, tapered off quickly, weren't able to achieve the previous high. Instead, what we saw, sellers came in, even though it was weak. Bulls came back in, sellers came back in, right? So this is probably, for me, this is probably the end of one kind of bearish move, right? It would have been good to, I just like being patient and waiting for confirmation because of the break of my trend line. But you could, here you could really just see that sellers came into the market, right? We had the correction, we had another impulse, right? So it would have been good to be trading in this sort of trend here, but I just like to be a little bit patient and wait for the right opportunities. So for me, this is probably the end of this initial bearish trend. So what we probably likely to see at the end of any trend is probably some sort of consolidation, right? And we're kind of starting to see the signs of that, right? So until either of these zones are broken, either this zone above or this zone below, then I wouldn't be trading because I'll be looking for clear trend and clear market structure, right? So all right, let's see what price does from here. All right, so bears came in, pushed the price lower. All right, so it'll probably be a lot clearer on the lower time frames, but can't go to the 15-minute time frame here because we're back in 2018, so I think the 1 hour is as low as I can probably go. But you could see here, right, we had an impulse and then another kind of correction like that, and then the start of another impulse, right? And this is what I'm talking about here. This is the correction, right? So impulse, correction, and then we had that impulse, right? So I don't know, we'll wait to see. I don't just trade based off of that. I like to see break of zones, and you know, so it kind of respected my zone here, but you could see again impulse, correction, so we might very well see another impulse, and this will be very, very clear on the lower time frames. All right, but anyway, let's just see what happens. Sweet. So you could see it here, right? Impulse, correction, impulse, correction, impulse. Price tried to go lower, and then, you know, the bulls came in. So I don't know, we'll see what happens. We did have a crack at these lows, so maybe these lows here are now more valid, right? So maybe something like this. All right, I don't know, something like that. We'll see what price does and what price respects, right? All right, so yeah, even though you had this, it's just as I said, right? You had this strong move, and then price is just kind of consolidating. Yes, on the lower time frames, you could get trades, but just stick to the 1 hour and be patient. All right, so we have price moving lower. Yeah, so that seems to be respected there. You know, again, good bearish market structure. Again, you could see here, you had that kind of correction after the impulse. It may not be the clearest, right? But you had another correction here. On the lower time frames, it would be very clear. Sorry, I can't drop to the lower time frames, but anyway, that's the kind of price action I like to see. So anyway, let's see what happens from here. All right, so price is currently rejecting this zone, which looks valid enough. Struggling to go a little bit lower, but we'll see. All right, so testing it now as support twice. I don't know, we might see price just rocket up from here, because it's just kind of consolidated and meandered to this lower zone, right? But anyway, we'll see what happens. All right, so we kind of having, all right, so this is a kind of long sort of corrective movement, right? Probably even connect these highs here, something like that. Yeah, maybe, I don't know, comes back into the level. I'll just see what, it might just respect this and buy. I don't know, we just have to see what happens. All right, so back, okay, so yeah, pretty much what I was saying, right? So we had consolidation, spike above, straight away back down into the channel, right? So we just wait to see what happens. If it cracks the channel, if it buys, if it sells, we'll see what happens. All right, so again, you could see strong selling pressure, slow recovery, strong selling pressure. All right, so you just see what happens. There you go, there you go. All right, so we had strong selling pressure, slow recovery, strong selling pressure. All right, so yes, I could have taken a trade, maybe a high risk trade over here if I paid attention to my channel a little bit neater, something like that. But yeah, anyway, I like to trade off a zone. So what I'll be looking for from here is a continued move down, something like this, come back up, test with rejection, and then look for short positions, right? All right, so we had the move below. We kind of had a rejection here, but yeah, that would have been a good trade. However, that being said, I would like more, because I always target previous lows, right? So in a short position, let's say I caught a position here which stops above the zone, right? Initial targets would have been right at these lows here. Yeah, that's 1.5 to 1. So yeah, I probably would have taken this trade if I took it a little bit slower. But never mind. Let's just see what price does, right? All right, so we move in lower, showing some rejections, but we're still moving lower. Maybe we missed the opportunity. I don't know if price could make its way back. No, that's not clear. If price can make its way back up here, then I'll look for a trading decision. a trade opportunity, sorry, and then target kind of like these lows, right? Or, you know, if price cracks these lows, comes back up, test, then I'll look for a short opportunity. All right, so it's pushing lower. Let's see, would it come back? Would it come back? Would it come back? It's kind of in a range, right? I'll stick to my analysis, right? So I'll stick to if it comes up here and shows me some rejection, I'll probably just neaten this up a little bit. Something like that, because that was the high. So let's just see, right? If it comes back, then we'll again, maybe. But you see, I want to see it come into the level, right? If it, okay, cool, all right. But so it did come into the level, but it's a big bullish candle, right? So the next candle will be important, right? So if we get a bearish candle, all right. So that's a good bearish candle. All right. So let's see here. All right, yeah, okay. I'll take a trade opportunity here, purely based off of this, right? So we had this big bullish candle, right? Came back into the level which I identified. It had every opportunity to continue going and disrespect the level. However, straight away on the very next opportunity, we had sellers come into the market, right? So if price was to continue higher, I would have liked to see another bullish candle, but we got this bearish candle. So for me, that is enough confirmation based off of the price action that I'm seeing. I will take a position here. That will be a short position. I'll put stops just above the level, something like that. Target previous lows, right? So down to this zone. That would be my first target. I would be 4-to-1 risk to reward. I'll just give it a little bit more room to breathe. So 3.5, 25 pip stop loss. So something like that, right? Target of previous lows, and then I don't know, final target could be, I don't know, we'll look for final targets once it gets to, if it gets to my initial target. All right, so we had a nice sell there. So let's see what happens. All right, price pushing lower. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's just look at something. Let me just look at this here. All right, so I'll just neaten my zone just a little bit because it was a little bit off. Just move it off up to the highs of that wick there. Okay. All right, so I'll just set this zone to the highs of this wick. So as before, the next candle for me is going to be important, right? If we get a bullish candle and it pushes higher and takes me out, then, you know, so be it. I'm out the trade. If it breaks and closes above this level, then I'll consider the trade invalid and cut my losses short. If we get a bearish candle, the trade for me is still valid, right? So let's see what happens next. Wow, very close, very close. All right, so we're still in the trade, right? We didn't get taken out. Maybe with spreads, maybe we might have gotten taken out, but you know, for the sake of the back test, let's say we still in the trade, right? Because it didn't hit the stop loss. So we got the bearish candle. So the trade for me is still valid, right? So very next candle is important. All right, so sellers are coming in, bearish candle. All right, so okay, so trade. All right, nice. Okay, the trade's back on. Good trade still. Close call on the stop loss. So yeah, let's just see what happens from here, right? Nice. Okay. Fantastico. All right, well, we've seen some rejections, but that's all right. Just having probably a pullback on these lower time frames. More rejections. Let's just see if it's a zone that I missed. No, I think yeah, I mean, it might be something like way in the past, but based on current price action, there's nothing immediately clear for me, so I'll still be targeting my previous lows here. See what happens. All right. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic, fantastic. All right, 3.5 for first TP. All right, so now we look for final TPs. We just look at where price is and we just target a previous low, right? So I guess these lows here, but then you kind of have this wick, this big wick here. I don't know. All right, so what I'll do, I'll go for final targets of these lows, probably a little bit higher, right? Not quite down here, just because of that wick. That's scaring me a little bit. So let's say somewhere like here-ish. Yeah, you know, it might see some resistance here. I just look at wherever you're seeing sharp movements, right? So I don't know. Yeah, I'll target these lows here, right? So let's just go for these lows just above, something like that, right? So let's see what that risk reward will be. 8. I need quite 8. Yeah. All right. You know what? I'll stick to my analysis, right? So target a previous lows. Let's just see what happens. All right, that's my analysis. I'll target previous lows. So let's just see. Okay. Nice. Okay. So, all right. So we had a big. Okay. You know what? I'm just gonna close the trade off here because we had a big bearish candle and then we had this pullback, right? So, you know, I'll see what the next candle does. Yeah. All right. Cool. Yeah. I'll close the trade off here. That's enough for me. 6.5. All right. So I'll call that 6.5 and call that end of trade. It would be nice to. It would have been nice to hit those previous lows, but like I said, right, it showed a lot of signs of struggle in the past around those levels with the sharp moves. So, yeah, probably a good decision to close off. Cool. Yeah. All right. I was happy with that. That was a good trade. Yeah. So I think for me, that was a month. So we did a month here, just 2 trades this month of Feb, but it was 2 pretty decent trades. You know, a nice 6%, 6-ish% winner here and another 6% winner. So 6.3%, another 6%. So that added 12% to growth. So we're now at 25% growth, right? So if I just delete these 2 trades, we were previously at 13.5%. And then we did, yeah, so roughly 12%, right? So that was pretty good. 7 wins, 2 losses, no losses in February. I should probably just type in February here. Cool. So yeah, 2 trades, but you know, 2 very good trades, right? I can't complain with 12% on 1 pair for the month, or 12R on one pair for the month. So cool. That was good enough for me. All right. I'll probably kill the video off here. And if you know, next week I'll probably do March, right, which will be the next month, and see how that one goes. All right, well, if you made it this far, as usual, thanks for watching, and if you like what you see, if you got anything to comment, you know, feel free to leave some comments, and if you're not subscribed, feel free to subscribe. Anyway, thanks for watching. I'll catch you.